A Spanish judge today ordered the king's sister, Princess Cristina, to be tried along with her husband on charges of tax fraud. The case against her is part of a 3-year-long investigation into the business dealings of her husband, who stands accused of embezzlement. Yusra Makti has more.
It will be the first royal-facing trial in modern Spain. Princess Cristina de Borbón is to be tried with her husband, Iñaki Urdangarin, on charges of tax fraud. The case against the princess stems from an investigation into her husband's business dealings when he was heading the charitable sports organization News Foundation between 2004 and 2006. He's accused of embezzling millions in public funds with a business partner. The amounts investigated are nearly €6 million worth of funds lost from the charity, believed to be used by Urdangarin in connections to win government contracts. But this time, the princess herself is under suspicion over nearly half of that money, since she sat on the news board. Cristina and her husband have both denied any wrongdoing.
I testify today to demonstrate I am innocent, my honor and my professional activity.
Today's judge ruling goes against a recommendation forwarded by a prosecutor earlier this month, proposing the princess to pay fines and only her husband to go on trial. The couple are now ordered to make a deposit to the court to cover possible liabilities, €2.6 million for Cristina and nearly 15 million for her husband. If it's not forwarded within 20 days, they could face having assets seized. This ruling promises to further embarrass the monarchy and see its popularity fall even more among Spaniards, since the investigation started 3 years ago. But when King Felipe, Cristina's brother, was crowned 6 months ago after his father abdicated, he promised what he described as an honest and transparent monarchy.
The Crown must strive to be close to its citizens, know to continuously earn their approval, their respect and their trust, and to achieve that aim, the Crown must preserve the dignity of the institution, preserve its prestige and maintain an upright, honest and transparent attitude, as is required by the institutional function and its social responsibility.
Therefore, expectations are high in Spain that no matter who it is from the royal family, they will face justice and trial.
To discuss this issue with us further, we're joined by political commentator Reverend Frank Gelli. Now, this is the first time a royal will face trial in modern Spain. If found guilty, she could face 8 years in prison. Now, is this likely to happen?
I think it's probably unlikely. She has declared herself willing to pay a very large sum of money to escape prosecution. But she cannot escape the embarrassment, which is huge, because her husband will have to face trial, and her husband may well end up in jail. Now, it is important to remember that the Spanish monarchy dates back to hundreds of years back. It is a symbol of national unity, and so anything which besmirches, which taints a member of a royal family is a grave matter indeed. It's also interesting that this action has been brought by Manos Limpias, which is a trade union, and it is a bit puzzling because it gets described as far right, but its website does have as its symbol the coat of arms of the monarchy surmounted by a big crown. And they, of course, are opposed to the autonomy or independence of areas like Catalonia. So it's not quite clear why this organization has brought an action against Cristina.
Reverend Frank, now, I mean, in regards, you're mentioning that this is a private prosecution and you feel that there may be some underlying biases in regards to it. But, you know, of course, there's a lot of discussion in Spain about the royal family at large. How do you think this publicity will affect the status of the royal family?
certainly in a democracy, any monarchy has to accept that the consensus of a governed is fundamental to its credibility. So obviously it's not going to help. You know, Spaniards never do things by halves. We know the past Inquisition, civil wars, crusades and so on. Now Spain is going through a process of liberal democracy to very extreme level, so to speak. So many Spaniards are turning against the monarchy, and that, in a way, is a sign of the times. I would also like to say that when a member of the royal family or a spouse of a royal family is involved in any business activities, there is bound to be trouble. I mean, in this country, we have had the Duchess of York, we have had the Countess of Wessex, the wife of Prince Edward, and, you know, whenever there is some sort of business, I think there is bound to be at some stage to be trouble, because greed is universal.
You mentioned that Spain doesn't do anything by halves. Now, how significant is this trial in regards to fighting corruption in Spain?
Certainly it is a watershed. It is a turning point, because I don't think it would have happened under King Juan Carlos. Now, the King Felipe, his son, is, if you like, it's a new boy, but at the same time, he doesn't really have the authority, because Juan Carlos had steered the country through after the regime of General Franco, and he has stood up to a coup d'etat. So he had a prestige, whereas Felipe is a much younger man. So it's going to be trouble ahead for the monarchy. Whether, in fact, most Spaniards will want to ditch the monarchy for a republic, I am not convinced.
Reverend Frank Gelli, political commentator, thank you very much for joining us today.